Made to Stick by Chip Heath and Dan Heath. Ideas are only as good as their ability to endure in the minds of others. In Made to Stick, Chip and Dan Heath tackle the challenge of why some ideas flourish while others fade away. They dissect the anatomy of memorable ideas and present a framework to ensure your concepts resonate, endure, and inspire action. Drawing on compelling research, engaging anecdotes, and psychological insights, they reveal how sticky ideas often defy intuition by simplifying complexity, exploiting emotions, and embedding themselves in human memory. At the core, you must recognize that crafting a sticky idea is not an accident, but an intentional process. This book equips you with practical strategies to make your ideas stick, whether you're leading a team, launching a product, or trying to change the world. Your success depends on mastering these principles and putting them to work. Lesson 1. Simple wins. The simplest ideas often achieve the greatest impact, not because they lack depth, but because they avoid unnecessary complexity. Simplicity demands clarity and discipline, stripping away distractions to expose the essential core of an idea. Southwest Airlines exemplifies this principle with their relentless focus on being the low-cost airline. Every decision they made reinforced this identity. They chose peanuts over meals, bypassed major airport hubs for direct routes, and adhered to a single aircraft model to streamline operations. These seemingly minor choices were not arbitrary. They were deliberate actions rooted in an unshakable commitment to their core idea. This focus allowed them to stand apart in an industry notorious for confusing pricing structures and bloated service menus. Simplicity became their competitive advantage, delivering not only cost savings but also a brand identity so strong that customers could articulate it in a single sentence. This principle isn't confined to corporate strategy. Apple's iconic Think Different campaign demonstrated the power of simplicity in branding. Rather than overloading consumers with technical specifications or product features, Apple delivered a single, resonant message: creativity, innovation, and rebellion against conformity. The campaign didn't just promote a product, it cultivated a lifestyle. The clarity of Apple's message allowed it to connect with people on a visceral level, making the brand synonymous with inspiration and originality. This stands in sharp contrast to the cluttered advertising that inundates people with details and loses their attention in the noise. Apple's success proves that simplicity, when paired with authenticity, cuts through the clutter and creates emotional connections that endure. The importance of simplicity also surfaces in literature. Ernest Hemingway, a master of lean, impactful prose, famously said, "Write the best story you can and take out every word that doesn't add to it." His work demonstrates that simplicity doesn't mean sacrificing meaning, it means intensifying it. Consider his short story, Hills Like White Elephants, where the simplicity of dialogue and description conveys deep emotional complexity. Every word serves a purpose, creating layers of interpretation while remaining accessible to any reader. Hemingway's philosophy is a reminder that simplicity in communication amplifies both clarity and impact. To understand why simplicity resonates so deeply, consider psychologist Barry Schwartz's research on the paradox of choice. His studies reveal that an overload of options often paralyzes decision-making and diminishes satisfaction. Similarly, when ideas are presented with too many layers or objectives, audiences struggle to grasp the core message, let alone act on it. This is why the simplicity of In-N-Out Burger's menu, a few high-quality options executed perfectly, stands out in the fast food industry. By avoiding the temptation to be everything to everyone, they have cultivated a cult following and built an enduring brand. You must apply the same discipline to your own work by recognizing that less is often more and that focus creates clarity, which in turn fosters trust and engagement. In the realm of history, the power of simplicity can be seen in the Gettysburg Address. In just 272 words, Abraham Lincoln reframed the purpose of the Civil War and articulated a vision for a united nation. His brevity and focus on universal themes of liberty and equality ensured that his message was not only memorable, but also transformational. Compare this to other political speeches bloated with excessive details or convoluted reasoning. And it becomes clear that simplicity is a catalyst for persuasion and inspiration. The challenge of simplicity lies in its paradox. Achieving it requires immense effort and clarity of thought. It is far easier to ramble or pile on unnecessary details than to distill an idea to its essence. Yet, when you embrace the discipline of simplicity, you sharpen your message into a tool that cuts through distractions and leaves a lasting impression. Your task is to define your core idea with precision and ruthlessly eliminate everything that does not serve it. Approach your work like a sculptor chiseling away at marble until the masterpiece emerges. When your idea is clear, pure, and simple, it becomes unforgettable. Your audience will not only remember it but also feel compelled to act. Lesson 2. Unexpected sparks interest. People are hardwired to notice and remember surprises. The brain is a pattern recognition machine, constantly scanning for what's familiar and predictable. When you break the pattern, you ignite curiosity and demand attention. Surprises jolt the mind awake, forcing it to engage with the unexpected and reassess assumptions. The Heath brothers illustrate this with a health campaign that transformed the way people viewed movie popcorn. Rather than delivering a dry lecture on fat content, they revealed a shocking truth. A single serving of movie popcorn contained more artery-clogging fat than a day's worth of fast food. This revelation disrupted the audience's expectations, making them rethink their choices in an instant. Without the shock of comparison, the message might have been ignored or forgotten. Instead, it stuck because it challenged what people thought they knew. The power of surprise isn't confined to public health. Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, understood how to manipulate audience expectations to keep them riveted. In his film Psycho, Hitchcock broke all conventions by killing off the apparent protagonist, Marion Crane, midway through the story. This shocking twist not only heightened the tension but also forced viewers into a state of uncertainty, making the rest of the film unforgettable. Hitchcock didn't just use surprise as a gimmick. He used it to rewire the audience's engagement with the story, ensuring that they were constantly on edge and fully invested. Your ideas must work the same way. If you want people to notice and remember, you must find the unexpected angle that disrupts their complacency. Stephen Levitt's Freakonomics similarly thrives on the unexpected by revealing connections that defy conventional wisdom. One of its most surprising revelations ties legalized abortion to the dramatic drop in crime rates during the 1990s. This idea not only challenges assumptions, but also forces readers to reconsider their understanding of societal trends. The unexpected nature of this connection made it a conversation starter, cementing its place in public discourse. Levitt's success lies in his ability to transform dry data into compelling narratives by emphasizing the surprises hidden within the numbers. You must do the same. Find the hidden truths in your message and present them in a way that disrupts your audience's expectations. Consider how surprise shaped the civil rights movement. Martin Luther King Jr.'s strategy of nonviolent protest defied the violent stereotypes many associated with resistance. By responding to aggression with peaceful defiance, King disrupted expectations, forcing the public and media to confront the stark contrast between oppressors and oppressed. This unexpected approach amplified the movement's moral authority and drew international attention to its cause. Surprises are not always about shock value. They are about upending assumptions in ways that challenge people to think differently. The psychology behind surprise lies in the brain's dopamine system, which rewards novelty and drives learning. Surprises activate this system, making us more attentive and more likely to retain the information associated with the unexpected event. This is why plot twists in stories, whether in films like The Sixth Sense or books like Agatha Christie's The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, are so memorable. They make you revisit everything you thought you knew, forcing you to engage deeply with the material. Your ideas should aim to evoke this same level of engagement. A predictable idea fades into the background, but a surprising one creates a ripple effect of attention, reflection, and discussion. To spark interest with the unexpected, you must first understand your audience's assumptions. Identify the patterns they expect and deliberately disrupt them, whether through an unexpected comparison, an unusual story, or a counterintuitive fact. Your goal is to challenge what they think they know and reward their curiosity with a deeper truth. Surprise is not about shock for its own sake. It is about reawakening the mind to possibilities it has overlooked. When you master the art of the unexpected, your ideas will lodge themselves in the minds of others, where they will be revisited, shared, and remembered. Lesson 3. Concrete sticks. Abstractions are fragile. They evaporate in the chaos of information overload, leaving behind little more than vague impressions. Concrete details, on the other hand, anchor ideas firmly in memory, creating vivid mental images that endure and inspire action. When ideas are abstract, they fail to connect with real experiences or emotions. This is why a teacher, trying to instill the importance of financial responsibility, chose to tell a story about a child spending their lunch money on baseball cards rather than delivering a generic lecture on the virtues of saving. The story rooted an abstract concept, responsible money management, in a specific, relatable scenario that the students could visualize and internalize. Concrete examples don't just explain, they resonate, making the lesson impossible to forget. Steven Spielberg's Jaws provides a masterclass in the power of concreteness. The terror of the shark isn't conveyed through abstract fears of the ocean, but through the unforgettable image of a severed leg sinking into blood-clouded water, or the sight of Brody's face as he realizes the shark's size. These visuals etch themselves into memory because they are tangible, specific, and visceral. Imagine if Jaws relied on vague, unseen threats instead of those iconic, terrifying moments. The film would have lost its staying power. Your ideas need the same kind of concrete specificity if you want them to stick. Strip away the abstract and focus on what people can see, hear, or feel. When your audience can picture your idea clearly, they won't forget it. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech is another testament to the enduring power of concrete imagery. King didn't just speak of justice or equality in abstract terms. He painted vivid pictures of a nation transformed, children of different races holding hands, valleys exalted, and rough places made plain. These concrete images gave life to his vision, allowing his audience to see, feel, and believe in the future he described. Without such vivid details, his speech would have been just another address, quickly forgotten. Instead, it became a defining moment in history. If you want to inspire action, you must follow his example. Use concrete language to make your vision tangible and real. The necessity of concreteness extends beyond speeches and stories. In the realm of education, consider the success of Khan Academy. Its effectiveness stems from breaking down complex subjects into manageable, concrete steps. A student learning algebra doesn't grapple with abstract principles, but instead tackles specific problems, step by step, using real-world examples. This method not only simplifies learning, but ensures that the lessons stick. Similarly, Richard Feynman, the Nobel-winning physicist, was known for his ability to explain even the most complex scientific ideas by anchoring them in simple, concrete analogies. By comparing atoms to billiard balls or energy transfer to water flow, he made physics accessible and memorable. You must adopt the same approach in your work by asking, how can I make this concept tangible? How can I root it in real-world examples or vivid imagery? Even in business, concreteness can be the difference between failure and success. Southwest Airlines, famously focused on being the low-cost airline, didn't communicate this identity through abstract mission statements. Instead, they operationalized it with clear, concrete decisions, offering no meals, flying only one type of plane, and serving only secondary airports. These specifics reinforce their identity at every turn, leaving no room for confusion. The lesson is clear. Abstraction confuses. Concreteness clarifies. If you want your audience to act on your ideas, they must understand them first, and that requires specific, relatable examples. The human brain processes and stores information more effectively when it is linked to tangible experiences or images. This is why metaphors, analogies, and stories are so powerful. They transform abstract ideas into something your audience can grasp, visualize, and remember. Think of your idea as a seed. Without the soil of concreteness, it cannot take root and grow. Abandon the temptation to speak in abstractions or jargon. Instead, focus on grounding your ideas in the real and relatable. When your audience can see and feel your message, they will not only remember it but also act on it. Lesson 4. Credibility builds trust. Without credibility, ideas fall apart. Trust is the bedrock of persuasion and influence, and without it, even the most compelling ideas will be dismissed or ignored. Credibility comes from a combination of evidence, expertise, and shared values. People don't just want to hear what you have to say. They want to believe you have the authority and authenticity to back it up. Subway's Jared Fogle exemplified this principle during the brand's push to market itself as a health-conscious choice. Fogle's personal weight loss story, a transformation achieved by eating Subway sandwiches, became a tangible, relatable testament to the brand's health claims. His experience gave credibility to Subway's message in a way that abstract nutritional data or corporate advertising slogans never could. People trusted the brand because they trusted the man behind the story. Credibility isn't built solely on personal anecdotes. It also hinges on facts and figures. But the way you present these facts matters just as much as their accuracy. Cold statistics often fail to resonate unless they are grounded in something more tangible. For example, the Heath brothers highlight how even small, specific details can give weight to an idea. When you share data, don't just list numbers. Connect them to real-life scenarios or use vivid comparisons that make the information come alive. This is where Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird offers a masterful example. Her meticulous depiction of Southern culture and racial injustice wasn't a series of abstract statements. It was a rich, detailed narrative that felt undeniably authentic. Readers believed in the world she created because every detail rang true, from the dialects of the characters to the stifling heat of Maycomb, Alabama. Authenticity flows from precision and care in storytelling, and these qualities build trust. Credibility also requires a sense of connection. People are far more likely to trust someone who shares their values or understands their experiences. In political history, Franklin D. Roosevelt demonstrated this during the Great Depression through his fireside chats. Speaking directly to Americans over the radio in a calm and conversational tone, Roosevelt reassured a struggling nation by showing he understood their fears and challenges. He combined relatable language with authoritative insights into his policies, bridging the gap between government and citizens. His credibility wasn't just a result of his position as president. It was built on his ability to connect with people on a human level while offering actionable solutions. Trust is not purely logical, it is deeply emotional. Consider how brands like Patagonia have built credibility by aligning their actions with their stated values. Patagonia's commitment to environmental sustainability isn't just a marketing ploy, it's reflected in their practices, from using recycled materials to donating profits to environmental causes. This alignment between their values and their actions fosters trust among consumers who share those values. People believe in Patagonia because the company proves its authenticity repeatedly, through both words and deeds. You must approach your own work with the same consistency and integrity. Empty promises erode trust. Meaningful actions reinforce it. The need for credibility extends to every sphere of communication. In science, researchers build trust through peer-reviewed studies and reproducible results. In storytelling, authors establish credibility by weaving narratives that feel grounded in truth, even when they are fictional. Think of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, where the richly detailed world of Hogwarts feels so real that readers suspend disbelief entirely. This believability stems from her careful crafting of every element, from the rules of magic to the characters' emotions and motivations. Whether you are writing fiction, presenting an argument, or pitching an idea, credibility demands the same rigor and attention to detail. To build trust, you must blend evidence with relatability. People need to see that you know what you're talking about, but they also need to feel that you understand and care about their perspective. The combination of authority and empathy is what transforms skepticism into belief. Without it, even the most polished idea will fail to connect. Embed authority in your message by offering concrete evidence, but don't stop there. Use stories, details, and shared values to create a sense of authenticity and relatability. When your audience trusts you, they will not only listen but also act on your ideas. Lesson 5. Emotional hooks. Ideas thrive when they make people care. Emotions are the fuel that drives action, the invisible thread that connects a message to the human heart. Without an emotional hook, even the most logical or compelling idea will fail to resonate. The Heath brothers illustrate this with the story of a nonprofit raising funds for starving children. Instead of overwhelming donors with statistics about millions of children in need, the organization focused on the story of one girl, putting a face to the suffering and evoking a sense of empathy that statistics alone could never achieve. This single narrative created a bridge between the donors and the cause, transforming abstract numbers into a tangible, emotional reality. It's a lesson you must internalize. People don't act because of what they know, they act because of what they feel. Consider the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, one of the most viral social movements of the past decade. It paired a lighthearted, engaging activity with deeply personal stories of those affected by ALS. Videos of people dousing themselves in freezing water spread across social media. But the real power came from the emotional connections, friends and family members explaining why the cause mattered to them. This combination of fun and personal storytelling inspired millions to participate and donate, raising unprecedented awareness and funds. The challenge succeeded because it made people feel something, whether it was joy, solidarity, or compassion. If you want your ideas to gain traction, you must find the emotional core that will make others care deeply. Victor Hugo's Les Miserables offers another powerful example of emotional storytelling. The novel's exploration of social injustice is not presented through dry political arguments, but through the intimate struggles of its characters. Jean Valjean's journey from a hardened convict to a compassionate father figure, Fantine's heartbreaking descent into poverty, and Gavroche's brave yet tragic stand for revolution all serve to humanize abstract ideas like inequality and injustice. Hugo's ability to evoke anger, sadness, and hope ensures that readers don't just understand the injustices of his time, they feel them. This emotional connection is what makes Les Miserables endure as a rallying cry for empathy and social change. Your message, like Hugo's, must go beyond logic to engage the heart. Emotional hooks work because they tap into universal human experiences. In his book Drive, Daniel Pink discusses the power of intrinsic motivation, which is fueled by a sense of purpose. People are far more likely to act when they feel their actions have meaning and align with their values. This is why stories of personal transformation, like Malala Yousafzai's fight for education, resonate so deeply. Malala's story is more than a narrative of hardship. It is a testament to courage and hope, touching on emotions that inspire people across cultures and backgrounds. When your message aligns with such intrinsic motivators, it becomes not just persuasive, but transformational. Emotional hooks are also why certain campaigns or movements succeed where others fail. Think of the Save the Whales campaign, which didn't focus solely on abstract environmental data, but instead highlighted the majestic beauty and intelligence of whales through vivid imagery and heartwarming anecdotes. People didn't support the cause just because it was logical to preserve biodiversity. They did so because they felt a deep sense of awe, admiration, and responsibility for these creatures. Emotion moved them to act. When crafting your ideas, don't fall into the trap of presenting facts in isolation. Connect them to human experiences, values, and aspirations to ignite emotional engagement. To effectively use emotional hooks, you must first identify the emotional core of your idea. Ask yourself, why should people care about this? What human stories or experiences can illustrate its importance? Speak to universal emotions like love, fear, hope, or joy, and deliver your message with conviction. If you aim only for the intellect, your ideas may be understood but forgotten. Speak to the heart, and you'll inspire not just understanding but action. When you evoke emotion, you give your audience a reason to remember, share, and fight for your ideas. Lesson 6. Stories inspire action. Stories are more than mere entertainment. They are humanity's oldest and most effective tool for transmitting knowledge and inspiring action. The power of stories lies in their ability to create meaning, forge emotional connections, and embed lessons so deeply in memory that they become instinctive. The Heath brothers recount the story of a firefighter who survived a raging wildfire by employing a seemingly counterintuitive strategy, lighting a fire to escape a blaze. This story has since become a vital teaching tool, demonstrating how clear thinking and innovative tactics can save lives even in the most chaotic situations. The lesson doesn't come in the form of dry instructions. It's embedded in the vivid, gripping narrative of a man defying logic to survive. Stories like this do more than inform. They inspire, moving listeners from passive understanding to active application. Consider how Aesop's fables, simple as they may seem, have endured for centuries as a framework for teaching values and ethics. Tales like The Tortoise and the Hare or The Boy Who Cried Wolf transcend cultures because they package universal truths in a format that is easy to understand and impossible to forget. These stories work because they connect abstract ideas, like persistence or honesty, to concrete, relatable characters and situations. The morals they convey are not imposed on the listener. They emerge naturally through the narrative, making them far more impactful. The takeaway is clear. If you want your ideas to stick, wrap them in a story that people can visualize and internalize. In The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell explores how storytelling transcends cultures and time periods. The hero's journey, as he describes it, is a narrative structure that resonates universally because it mirrors the shared struggles and triumphs of human existence. From Odysseus's epic return to Ithaca to Katniss Everdeen's fight for survival in the Hunger Games, these stories inspire us because we see ourselves in the protagonist's journey. They remind us of our capacity for resilience, courage, and transformation. When you frame your ideas within the arc of a narrative, you give your audience a chance to see themselves as the heroes of the story. This not only makes the ideas relatable, but also motivates action. The psychological power of storytelling is backed by science. Researchers have found that stories activate multiple areas of the brain, including those responsible for sensory experiences, emotions, and memory. Unlike facts or statistics, which primarily engage the analytical parts of the brain, stories create a full-bodied experience that immerses the listener. This is why powerful narratives, like the story of Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat, can spark entire movements. Parks's act of defiance was not merely an event. It became a story that symbolized the fight for civil rights. Her courage inspired countless others to take action because her story made the struggle tangible, personal, and urgent. Modern marketing also demonstrates the transformative power of storytelling. Brands like Nike thrive because they don't just sell products, they tell stories of determination and victory. Campaigns like Just Do It resonate because they feature real athletes overcoming obstacles, turning abstract ideas of perseverance into relatable, inspiring narratives. You don't just buy a pair of shoes, you buy into the story of achieving greatness. Similarly, TED Talks that go viral often owe their success not to the speaker's credentials or data, but to their ability to weave their message into a compelling story that touches the audience's hearts and minds. Your ideas need the same treatment. Don't present them as isolated facts or instructions. Frame them within a story that captures attention, creates emotional resonance, and offers a clear takeaway. Whether it's a personal anecdote, a historical event, or a fictional narrative, your story must have a purpose. It should illustrate your idea in a way that makes it vivid, memorable, and actionable. When people see themselves in the story, They become not just passive listeners, but active participants in the journey. Stories inspire because they show what's possible, connecting aspirations with a path to achievement. Frame your message in a narrative, and you will move your audience from inertia to action. Conclusion. Sticky ideas are built on a foundation of simplicity, surprise, concreteness, credibility, emotion, and storytelling. These principles are not theoretical. They are practical tools you must wield with intention. Whether you are creating a marketing campaign, delivering a presentation, or rallying a community, your idea's longevity and impact depend on how well you apply these lessons. As you reflect on Made to Stick, consider diving into Switch by the same authors to further explore behavior change, or The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell for insights on social influence. Your ability to make ideas stick will shape the trajectory of your work, your relationships, and your legacy. Embrace the challenge and start creating ideas that endure. The end.